Hi, this is Darren Lyle. Well, we're almost done with UV mapping here. Let's take a look at maybe this belt here. Let's see what we can come up with in terms of UV mapping this belt. So let's isolate these. And let's first go over to the UV editing screen layout. And once again, I've made this belt with just one side. It's not double-sided, or it does not have any thickness to it. So let's just select that one, and let's give this a try. I'm going to go into edit mode, select everything, press the U key, and click Unwrap. And that's what we get. It's not great because it's got this area down here that's really collapsing into itself. Let's see if we can figure out why that is. Okay, let's just isolate this a little bit further. Maybe I'll hit the / on the numpad again, and then one more time, and that will isolate that. Where is this? I think what's happening is it's collapsing here in this area because it does have thickness. So I think what let's do is let's go ahead and select edges here, and let's mark a seam here. Control E, mark seam. So now if I select everything and hit U and unwrap, let's see what happens. That's a little better. It broke that piece out into its own UV island, so there didn't have to be so much pulling and stretching there at the end. All right, that's pretty good. Let's see what else we have here. How about one of these packs? Let's work on this one here. I'm going to isolate it. And this is an oddly shaped thing. I actually made it as a little pack. There's actually a little hole in here, a little slot where you can put things. So I probably shouldn't have done that, but let's go ahead and try it and see how this UV maps. What I'm going to try is I'm going to select this edge around the top, and I'm going to press Shift and Alt to select the rest of the edges around the top here, and maybe here. So let's mark a seam there to split out the little inside pouch. And maybe let's also, maybe let's select an edge around this whole piece. This is the little flap on the back. See if we can split that out. So I'll go ahead and mark a seam there. And let's also maybe mark a seam around this piece up front here. So that splits out the front as well. And in addition, since this is going to be a cylindrical piece, I'm going to go ahead and mark a seam here at the bottom because I don't want this to collapse on me as a cylindrical piece. So I will mark a seam there. Now let's see how this works. I'm going to press the L key to select just that pouch here, and then U and unwrap. And doesn't look great. I'm going to switch from conformal to angle based and see how that works. Yikes, not much better. Not much better. I'll switch back to conformal. And we'll see how that looks. I think the first thing we should probably do for this is just assign a checker pattern. So let's go back to our node editor right over here and assign that checker material that we created a video tour ago and see how that looks. I'll change this to texture viewport shading. Well, this is pretty ugly, but I think I have an idea why this is happening, why we're getting such an awful mess of our UV map here. And this is actually good to go over, I think. Let's go back to the default view here. And one of the things that we need to make sure of is the our transforms that here, let me go to object mode, and now I'm going to press the N key to bring up the properties panel here. And if I scroll up, notice that the scale here and the rotation and the location are all what they call non-uniform. What we need to do is really freeze these transformations or make sure that they are all uniform scale, rotation, location, etc. And to do that, I'm going to select that in object mode, and I'm going to press Control A, and we can apply our rotation and scale, etc. here. So I'm going to apply the location, and I'm also going to press Control A and apply the rotation and scale here. So now the scale is all ones. All right, so let's go back to the UV editor and let's see if this has helped us at all. And go to edit mode. And I've still got all of my seams marked here. I'm going to press L to select just that pouch. And now what I'm going to do is press U and unwrap. And now we're getting something a little better here. We can test out, we can try if we want conformal or angle-based. Here's angle-based. Or we can try the conformal method, which seems to give us a pretty good unwrap here. I think that's pretty good, actually, for what we have. And then we can do the same here for this piece. Let's select this piece. And once again, it is just one-sided, so I'm going to select it, press U, and unwrap. And we get a pretty good unwrap there for that. We can test once again with angle-based or conformal. Conformal looks pretty good. And I'm going to now select this little snap here and press U and unwrap. And we get a pretty good unwrap here. So now if I select all of that, I've got all of these UV islands overlapping each other. But what I can do is select them all over here in the UV image editor and press Control A to average island scale, and then press Control P to pack them all into the 0 to 1 space. All right, let's take a look at this little belt loop here. I'm going to isolate it. And this is just, it's all one piece, but is only one-sided. So theoretically, we should be able to, say, split it right here on the bottom and then unwrap it. So let's see if we can do that. You unwrap. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's go to, actually what I'll do is I'll split this screen and bring this node editor up here. And there we go. So now we can assign the material up here like that. I should probably scale this a bit. Let's see if we can get these checker patterns to be a little more square. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, let's move on. Now the eye, I think what we want to do is split it out from the back. So if I selected edges here, say here, like this, and split these out, oh, I don't know, something like this, we might be able to get a fairly good unwrap here. Let's see how this is going to work. Control E, mark seam. And now, let's see. U and unwrap. A little bit wonky around the middle here. Let's switch to angle-based. And I think that is going to work. So the last thing let's do is just go over how we could mirror one of these arms, say, over to the other side. And we'll do the same with the boot and the eye and the pouch here. But let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm going to switch back over to my default view here. And now that I've selected this piece, notice that the pivot point for it is down in the center of the grid, which is fine, which is good. Let's also take a look at the transforms here and make sure that they've all been applied. If they haven't, you should probably press Control A and apply the location, rotation, and scale here. So now that all of these are applied and the pivot point is in the center of the grid, I just really need to apply a mirror modifier to it to bring it over to the other side. So I'm just going to select this other arm and just delete it. And now I'm going to add a mirror modifier here, and that should mirror over to the other side. Now I can apply it, and there we go. Now that arm is also applied on the other side, and now I don't have to UV map that. What let's do now is just split it off. If you wanted to, you can always go to Edit mode here, select everything in Edit mode and press the P key, and then split it by loose parts. And that should split those two up into two different objects. 1, 2. All right, so let's try, let's do the eye now. I'm going to delete the right eye, select the left, and make sure this pivot point is down in the center of the grid here, and it is. And then add a mirror modifier, and then apply that. And there we are. Let's now just take a look at combining this whole character into one object, and then using the Blender tools to arrange and pack them into the 0 to 1 space. Okay, so what I have now is the character all combined. I don't have the buttons or the shoelaces or the teeth combined yet. I'm going to work on those a little later, but I just wanted to show you what you can do if you combine the character all into one and work on the UV map in that way. So what I'm going to do is go back to my UV editing view here. Now if I select my character and I go into edit mode and I select everything in edit mode, you can see that it is an absolute mess over here. But one of the things you can do is once again use this average island scale and pack islands to organize this. And let's see how this works. So I'm going to select all the UV islands and I'm press Control A to average island scale to make sure that all of these are proportionally the same size as everything in the UV or in the 3D view. And then I'll press Control P and pack it all in. So there it is. There's my UV map of my whole character. Now, there are a couple of things that I think should be more important than other things. I'm going to make sure I'm in UV Island Select mode here. One of the things I think that should be more important is the head or the face. I think this should be something that should have a greater resolution on the texture map than most of the other pieces. That's going to be, if we're going to do a close-up, that's what's going to be the main point of interest. So I'm going to increase the size of the head just a bit within the map because that'll give it a higher resolution. And now once again, I'm going to select everything, and instead of hitting Control A, that would change the scale back, I'm going to just press Control P, pack it all in like that. And I'm going to hit, and I'm going to uncheck Rotate here, and that will pack everything in to the 0 to 1 space. So there you have it. There is our UV mapped character. In the next series of videos, I think what I'm going to do is begin texturing them. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you soon in the next series of tutorials. Take care. See you then.